At its core, Journey of the Broken Circle wants to be a philosophical game about existentialism and the angst it can bring on to a person. The game stumbles, though, by marrying these complex issues with simple writing, and this massive gap in intellectual thought leaves the title floundering for an identity. Instead, the best thing going for Journey of the Broken Circle is how the relationships it displays serve a dual purpose, as they're able to bolster its commentary on love and fulfillment while also mirroring those elements in its gameplay. It's a story about finding love, or more specifically, using relationships as a crutch to attain happiness. By its conclusion, the game has condoned this behavior, arguing that relationships, while important, shouldn't be used as a sole source of happiness, but instead as a supplement to an already joyous life. It illustrates a visual between happiness and fulfillment that is worth exploring further. So with that, welcome to Psychology of Gaming, the series where we look at how psychological elements are worked into games and how games can affect us psychologically. In today's episode, we take a look at happiness versus fulfillment and how Journey of the Broken Circle puts them on display. Happiness, fulfillment, are they the same thing? Are they different? Well, let's take a look. So long as you're a human being, you probably don't need anyone to define happiness for you. It's an emotion we've all experienced and the one we strive to experience the most. For many, being happy for most of their time is the goal, but obviously this isn't super realistic. We need other emotions like sadness, anger, and surprise in order to define each emotion as unique experiences that we feel throughout our lives. You need bad moments in order to better appreciate the good ones. This is the case in Journey of the Broken Circle, where you play as a small Pac-Man clone who feels his life is devoid of meaning. He's missing a significant chunk of himself, and this represents a hole in his life that he hopes to fill through finding love. To the circle, happiness will be achieved when he's able to find a romantic partner that will complete him. Throughout the game, the player will encounter a small handful of romantic partners that the circle will spend time dating and moving through life with as they adventure together. At the start of these relationships, the circle feels happy, that basic human emotion that we all strive for. The music swells joyously, the partners are excited about what the future brings, and it genuinely feels like an uplifting experience, in particular because your gameplay mobility is expanded upon with the addition of new relationships. Sticky allows you to climb up surfaces by, sticking to them. Balloon allows you to float through the clouds, and Perfect allows you to reach fast speeds. Each of these relationships expand the player's abilities, just like how having a real-life romantic partner can expand your own life. It's clear to see that Circle is genuinely happy at the start of these relationships. But does he feel fulfilled? Well, as the moments pass and more issues crop up between himself and his partners, that feeling of happiness fades until the partners split up. Whether it's due to different life goals or conflicting personalities, each relationship eventually comes to an end point. So while he has experienced happiness in these relationships, he hasn't necessarily found fulfillment yet. So what does this tell us? Well, it's pretty clear that happiness is a fleeting emotion. It's a temporary mood triggered by the interpretation of environmental stimuli, as well as the physiological reactions that come along with them. Emotions are one of the hardest things for psychologists to study because they aren't easy to genuinely replicate or to sustain long enough without biasing influences. Still, the field of psychology has produced many theories that explain human emotion, but 6 of them stand out more than the others. These 6 include the James Lange theory, the Cannon-Bard theory, the two-factor theory, the evolutionary theory, the cognitive appraisal theory, and the facial feedback theory. These theories all vary in a few subtle ways, but most of them posit that emotion involves events occurring in our environment and the subsequent physiological responses and cognitive processes that accompany them. For example, the James Lange theory states that emotions are a direct response to physiological reactions to environmental stimuli. For example, if you're at the zoo and a dangerous animal gets loose, your adrenaline starts pumping, your heart begins racing, and your airways are open more, all of which are physiological reactions. Emotionally though, your body interprets those bodily functions and creates a sense of fear within you according to the James Lange theory. Meanwhile, the Cannon-Bard theory varies by saying that the emotions predate the physiological reactions instead of vice versa. In that case, you'd feel afraid first before your body kicks into a fight or flight response. So hopefully that example shows you that most of these theories are working on the same premise, at least with the same factors involved. Now that's not true for all of them, but it is for most of them. In the case of the broken circle, it's my belief that the cognitive appraisal theory is the most applicable. Pioneered by psychologist Richard Lazarus, this theory states that emotion must be accompanied by not only an environmental stimuli, but also a series of thoughts to help contextualize them. For example, if you walk into your house and a bunch of people jump out at you, it's going to take your brain a little time to work through the events. If the identity of the people is covered by a mask, your heart will begin racing and you'll probably start feeling afraid. However, if the people that jump out are easily recognizable as friends and family, you might piece together that this is a surprise party and instead feel shocked and joyous. The circle is influenced in a similar manner because upon meeting each new potential partner, he breaks down the situation. He talks with the person and thinks about how a relationship could change his life, and it gives him hope. These thoughts of a good life help inform his mood and changes it to one of happiness. You could also argue that Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory of emotion influences the circle. Darwin posited that emotions serve biological purposes that help us to survive and pass on our genes. Perhaps one reason why the circle feels so excited at the outset of each relationship is because it represents a chance to survive in greater numbers while also providing a romantic partner. We have been programmed to seek out partners because of how they can help ensure the survival of our species. So these are but a few explanations for why the circle experiences feelings of happiness. Again, happiness is a fleeting emotion though, and the circle isn't able to find fulfillment in these relationships. By the game's end, the circle does find a sense of fulfillment by realizing that attempting to complete himself through the addition of another won't create a strong foundation to build a life on. He realizes that he must overcome his own mental demons in order to live the good life. So how does fulfillment then differ from emotion? Well, fulfillment is a sustained sense of confidence in our purpose and where we are at in life. It's about establishing our own goals and working hard to complete them while bringing in others to supplement that growth. Fulfillment isn't a fleeting feeling that comes and goes like happiness or any other emotion. The circle finds a point of peace by the game's conclusion after realizing that not even the apparently perfect partner could make him feel complete. It's not until he confronts his own inner demons that he learns to accept who he is, and this leads to a sense of fulfillment and purpose. It's a good lesson to take away from this game. The only person who can give us a fulfilling life is ourselves, and it's done by understanding our own limitations and striving to get better every day by working towards new goals and appreciating the contributions of those around us. Journey of the Broken Circle isn't really a game I can recommend, but at the very least, it's a thought-provoking title that got me thinking about two psychological mindsets: happiness and fulfillment. Perhaps it's most important to end this video by saying that both are equally as important. Living a fulfilling life does in turn lead to more feelings of happiness. So I hope you enjoyed this bite-sized episode of Psychology of Gaming. I can't believe the playlist has now hit 40 episodes. That's crazy to me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing for more. Follow me on Twitter at NopNapNarp. And as always, have a nice day and take care.